Welcome back to Petes Dugout. This is episode number 19 of my FIFA 23 career mode, and I hope you're all having a great day. I'm starting today's episode off with some technical difficulties and my first ever YouTube blunder. So, if you remember last time out, we had just beaten Luton Town before the FA Cup semi-final in what was our 42nd game. So, in today's episode, you'll notice that I've played 44. Basically, my recording corrupted after I played the Cardiff and Hull games at home, and it's so frustrating because Watford slipped up again, and we actually won the league after the home game against Hull. Just to confirm to you that I drew against Cardiff and lost against Hull, so it was actually quite lucky that Watford slipped up, really. It would have been a nail-biting finish for the season for sure. So, no trophy lift unfortunately, but the Premier League status has already been confirmed, and that's not why you're here today anyway, is it? No, of course not. We've got another trip to London coming up, and as we attempt to become the first side to win the FA Cup whilst being outside of the top division since West Ham in 1980. The good news is that with the league wrapped up, I could afford to make big rotation changes and put my best players on ice for the big game. So, up against third place Sheffield United, I gave rare starts to Wilson, Reed, Kelly, Howley and Godden. And with 42 minutes gone, the score was 1-1 with Palmer opening the scoring for the Sky Blues. And I've got to be fair, he's another one who's really stepped up since Kim's been injured, I should say. But we did let Sheffield back into the game after McBurney's lovely finish, and they almost took the lead just before half-time with the Blades frontman crashing a header off the post from close range. The second half was so open, and it was no surprise that there was an early goal. McAtee this time popping up to fire past Wilson, and it's 2-1. Despite the heavy rotation, we were really competitive and almost got ourselves back into the game immediately from kick-off with a long-range effort from Thomas dipping just wide, and the keeper was breathing a sigh of relief with that one. Just after his effort though, I took Thomas off to protect him against injury, as he will likely start the final, and I brought on Colwell, who was unlucky not to start the game if I'm honest, and he was involved straight away, carrying the ball into midfield and slotting a well-timed ball to Godden through on goal, but Davis does well to rush out and close the angle. So we had plenty of chances to get back into the game, and Sheffield eventually punished us after a well-worked attack down the right. McAtee finds himself in acres of space in the middle again, and he fires a left-footed shot into the corner of the net with Wilson standing no chance. So it's a 3-1 loss to start the episode, but realistically the job is already done in the league, and it was just a run out for the players who hadn't had much game time this season. Next up, we have our final game of the season away to Blackpool, and before we head into the action, I just want to mention that this game actually took place after the FA Cup final, but I've edited it forward, so don't panic about a few of my starters being involved in a meaningless game. I haven't lost the plot just yet. I still rotated a few players with Pepega, Reed, Ginnerly and Colwell coming in to complement the starters, but I've got to be honest, we were already on the beach after confirming promotion. No urgency in the side at all, and after a slow start, Blackpool took the lead through the on-loan Arsenal prospect Charlie Patino. Things were made even worse just after the hour mark as Blackpool doubled their lead, but I can't have too many complaints about this one. It's a lovely finish near post. Maybe Ronning could do better if I'm being critical, but the turn and finish from the winger was really impressive. Straight from kick-off though, we did give ourselves a lifeline through Walton. Hamer dribbles forward and finds Ginnerly, bursts into the box, squares it, and Luke Walton calms you like fire's bottom corner with Maxwell rooted to the ground. So 2-1 your final score on the last day of the season. A little anticlimactic, but as I said earlier, the job was already done and we were already making plans for next season. So, just one more game remaining this season, and it's arguably the biggest in Coventry's history. It's the FA Cup final against Wolverhampton Wanderers, who currently sit 11th place in the Premier League. Not taking anything for granted, but on current form in the Cup, I actually like our chances. So it's one last duel at Wembley to end the season, and I had to put on the Coventry jersey for this one. Really wish Kim was fit for the game, but Palmer and Tavsan have been in brilliant form as of late, and Gyökeres is always dangerous going forward. Come on, you Sky Blues. So Wolves last won the FA Cup in 1960, so they will be well up for this game as well. And they have a lot of experience in their side with João Moutinho and Jose Sá. Looks as though Ruben Neves has moved on, maybe to Saudi Arabia, who knows. But even so, a quick reminder of how we got to the FA Cup final, getting through Leicester, the United game on penalties, what a game that was, and of course Palace recently. Feeling really nervous for this one as we get underway. And it's a quick start from the Sky Blues as Panzo wins possession. We get forward to Thomas, The youngster plays it inside to Gyökeres and it's the perfect start to the final. How's that for nerves? The championship side take the lead at Wembley and the celebrations are heard all the way down the M1. What a start, and Wolves were showing their frustrations as Núñez makes a rash challenge on Hamer and earns himself a place in the ref's books early on. It was still all Coventry 12 minutes in and we look to make the early pressure count. Gyökeres does brilliantly in midfield to skip past two Wolves players and he feeds the speedy Tavsan down the right. The winger barrels into the box and smashes past Jose Sarr to make it 2-0 to Coventry, and this is unbelievable stuff. The Premier League side just haven't got going and Tavsan is enjoying his best form of the season over the last 5 or 6 games. What a piece of business that was for the Dutchman, costing just 1.8 million at the start of the year. Wolves did wake up just after the second goal and we needed Ronin on top form to keep out the effort from Núñez. A good save, but a reminder that Wolves do have quality in their side, so we had to stay disciplined. The tide started to turn after the first Wolves attack and they got forward again down that left wing. Aït-Nouri and Núñez played a quick 1-2 and the wing-back forces another good save from Ronin and we just about clear our lines. We were hanging on just before the break and Wolves attacked down the right this time. The ball is played to Moutinho in the final third and he finds Núñez. It's a wonderful pass and Guedes has time and space to fire home and gives Wolves a lifeline just before the half-time break. You have to say it was coming after all that pressure. So still work to do in this one. But still, we take a lead into the break, which is really important. And at the start of the second half, I made a tactical change with the more defensive Dabo coming on for Blackman at right back to counter the pressure that Wolves are putting on down that side. And the second half started much like the first half ended, with Wolves dominating the ball and creating chances. First, Suso strides forward and Ronin does well to deflect the shot behind. And then Suso again with a powerful left-footed effort crashing off the crossbar. And we are hanging on to the 1-goal advantage for dear life. Our first chance of the second half came just after the hour mark as Tavsan plays a 1-2 with Dabo and then sets Gyökeres free on goal. The big Swede's first touch takes him away from goal though, and Sarr is able to close the angle and smother the shot, and we really needed that one to kill off the Wolves attack. But shortly after that, Wolves were looking dangerous again and the fans were getting anxious. Núñez and Moutinho link up again in midfield, and the Portuguese pairing set up the trifecta with a perfectly weighted pass into Guedes. In behind Dabo, and you might as well play the Portuguese national anthem after that one. It's 2-2. They huffed and puffed and finally they're back on level terms. So I needed to make some changes to get Coventry back in the game and I took a slight risk. Palmer and Thomas come off for Bapega and Allen, 2 players with bags of energy, and we needed it. We regained some composure after the second Wolves goal, and I'm not sure if they used all their energy for the equaliser, but they were slow getting back. Dabo finds Allen down the wing and he looks up to spot Gyökeres all alone. He slots him in and bang, it's 3-2 and the Sky Blues take the lead again. The substitution pays off and don't you just love it when that happens. 10 minutes later and Wolves looked a little lost for ideas. We defended really well after their second goal and Rose clears it forwards. Gyökeres plays target man and heads it to Hamer down the right. He dribbles forward, crosses to his partner in crime, and at the second time of asking, Gyökeres pokes home and surely now that's game over. So the Sky Blues are rushed the pitch and it is over. For the first time since 1980, a non-Premier League side has won the FA Cup and it's the first major honour for Coventry since 1987. Captain Fantastic Gustavo Hamer leads the celebrations and the Sky Blues finish off the unconventional double. Championship winners and FA Cup winners. And do you know what else that means? Not only do we get to play in the Premier League next year, but as FA Cup winners, we earn a place in the Europa League. That's unbelievable stuff, and definitely some work to do in the next episode as we get our squad ready for a busy second season. So that's going to do it for another episode of FIFA 23 Career Mode on Petes Dugout. Thank you all, as always, for the continued support on Season 1. I'm still working on that outro, but I'll be back with another episode to showcase the last few bits of the season with the Golden Boot and some other stats, and then it's on to a brand new season with a new budget, new transfers, and much more very, very soon.